Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at play-up props here for Game 4. The Nuggets up 2-1 in the series, as we just saw. We also have a best bets video up for you with a couple picks each in that one. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. Also want you to head to thelines.com. Check out all the great content on the site right now and use that odds finder tool. A nice little chart right in front of you showing you all the odds available to you from those sports books, giving us bets in the NBA Finals. Not that bad, not great. In this last game here, in the terms of the player props, definitely salvaged ourselves a bit more with the best bets as well. After coming off a really, really hot night there. Still some really great futures bets alive as well, though, we should say, in terms of Jokic. To get 50-plus points, rebounds, and assists combined in all of the finals games, it's up to 53.5 now for this Game 4 in terms of his PRA there, Nate. So still liking that bet a lot. KCP, I don't know if we're going to waste any more money on him. Kevin Love, I still think he's capable of getting 10.5 points in rebounds. He only saw 16 minutes in this last one instead of 22. That definitely hurt him not getting back in there. I don't know if I want to have to bank on how Spo is going to use him intermittently anymore. So might stay away from him as well. Vincent and MPJ, which we hit in our best bets video as well for this next game. It hit in this one in terms of their points. Vincent having more points than MPJ got you minus 115 with a unit and a half from Nate. And all three guys that I was talking about between MPJ, Bruce Brown, and Max Strus missed on their props there with a little sprinkle on each. So hopefully, you hit some of those best bets we talked about and we're able to salvage some of the player props. But we move onward where I think we're just ready to focus a lot more on these stars and not worry about having to figure out which role players might show up in NBA Finals games as it continues to vary a bit. So let's kick it off talking about the Joker, Nate.
Yeah, get in where you fit in, I guess, is the theme now. When Joker and Jamal Murray are just taking every shot and involved in every action and playing like 42-plus minutes. I want to bet on the Joker here. There's obviously a lot of options. You mentioned that 50-plus PRA, which is still live if you got it at plus 500 before this huge outing. Now you can get it at plus 125 if you want to still tail that. It's not terrible considering his prop is going to be higher than that, all the remaining finals games. So, yeah. But for this one, I'm actually going to take away the assists and go 44 points and rebounds for the Joker. And that's minus 115. There's also an intriguing same game parlay or two. I'll look at this one. 30-plus points, 12-plus rebounds. Denver to cover is plus 310. I also like Joker and Jamal 40. Joker 40 points rebounds. Jamal 30 points rebounds. Denver to cover also about plus 300. So if you're interested in those, if you think Denver's going to win Game 4, which is certainly quite possible the way they just dominated down low, and Joker being the source of that domination. Like I said, he suddenly was an elite rim protector, holding Miami to like 30% shooting when he was the primary defender down low. I don't know how much that's going to last, but the rebounding, I think, is really consistent in the series. He's averaging now 16.5 his last two, scoring 36.5 on a 35% usage rate. We talked about him scoring more on the road and assisting a little bit less. I am kind of fading the assists here because while he got 10 dimes last game, that was only on 13 potential assists. Like, there are not a lot of opportunities, a lot of margin there for him to get that number. And Miami is still, using the same approach kind of that they used in Game 2, which is to say, like, we got to stay home on people. If Joker's going to beat us with tough shots, we'll tip our cap. But he's clearly able to do that. And I actually think there's some positive regression in terms of his shot making after what he scored another 30-plus game here. Miami just has no answers for him. Like, Bam can't bother his shot that much down low. He hits tough shots. He turns into a monster in the second half, which I've talked about several times now, his last 5 second halves, averaging over 20 points per game on 38% usage in these finals, 63% from the floor in the second half. And so that's exactly why I want to look at him, ramping up, because I think Miami's probably going to be leading at halftime in this one. I mean, their backs against the wall. That might be an intriguing option there. Miami half, full-time, whatever. But the point is, like, everybody mentions, like, Denver loses when Joker scores a lot. It's not necessarily a cause and effect. He's scoring a lot because they're losing, and he needs to step up and do something as if other people don't have it, or if the other team is, again, all over that action. And he's proven very capable of it. I mean, look at these numbers. When he only got 16 elbow touches in game 3 of his 103 total touches. He scored on 88% of those touches. He just routinely getting a tiny player on him. I mean, everybody is relatively tiny on the Heat. Even Bam, he can go right over the top of. And the boards were just incredible. I mean, he had 31 rebounding chances because Miami was cold. And also rebounded 52.5% contested rebounding rate, which, is pretty high for the entire series. In this one, it's 47.5%, but he is just battling and doing that thing where he taps it to himself, getting whatever. As we know, the first 30-20 game in finals history, or the first 30-20 triple-double, whatever. The point is, yeah, he's racking up those stats, and I'd rather go with these two rather than mess with the assists.
Yeah, the stats are that he has the only 30-20 triple-double in NBA Finals history. He now has the most, he's had the most 30-20 triple-doubles in playoff history already. He has 3. Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain each have 1. He and Jamal Murray are the only 2 teammates to ever have 30-point triple-doubles in the same game ever, like regular season, preseason, postseason, Harlem Globetrotters games. Like, they're the only ones to do it. So yeah, some pretty wildly impressive stuff that continues to pop off. And the points and rebounds, it's so many, but like, I love it. And another way to play what you were saying in terms of his second half going offness, that I just made up that phrase. You can get those live bets on his points prop on your local book. Definitely DraftKings and FanDuel will offer you live, total, like, continuously updated totals for his points prop. And if you look at it and let's say it gets down below 30 at any point because he's got 12 in the first half, feel comfortable he's still capable of getting 40. So either way, I'm totally with finding ways to bet on the stars in this one, even Jamal. But like, I'm going to talk about, for my first bet, a star on the Heat, which honestly, like, I was kind of thinking and throwing it out there. If you thought the Heat had a chance to win, what about like Bam at one point, like before this last game, at like plus 3,300 to be the MVP? That would be the way that I would almost just like bet on them. But obviously Jimmy also is so capable of it. I don't know. He's just been the best player, man. Like, Bam has been, the best player, and maybe not the most efficient, but his points prop is at 20.5, and it's gotten way higher than 17.5 where it started out to begin this series. But it's even money on DraftKings for him to do that. And I just don't think that there's any plans for change in the game plans for both of these teams, right? Like, Denver side, it's like, we're not going to guard Bam out there. We're going to continue to sag off of him when he's standing at the top of the free throw line and let him kind of do his thing from there. And to his credit, he's very still quick and slithery and can get and long and can get, some decent shots around the rim. But for the most part, he's still just hitting little baby hooks and jumpers and making him, to his credit, at enough of a rate that, he's getting the points, but he's still only shooting 46% from the field in this series. His offensive rating's about 115 as well. He just went 9 for 20 in this last game. But I think that, the usage rate is just what it is, right? It's 27%, highest on the team. He's averaging 23 a game in the series, going over 21 or going over 20 every single time in the 40 minutes per game that he's playing. I also like the fact that he gets more free throws at home in general. During the regular season, that was the case. And in the playoffs as well, he's getting more than 5 free throws a game at home versus 3.5 on the road. And that was the case here. You just saw him only have 0 actually free throws in game 1 in Denver, game 2 in Denver, 5 free throws. Then they come home for game 3 and he goes 8 for 10 from the free throw line to help him get to his point total. He 22 points, right? He needed the 8 free throws to really get him over because he was only 7 for 21 from the field in this game. So, I think there's room for improvement on top of that, but I just don't see anything changing in a way that he wouldn't get at least 21 points. Obviously, he could get 20, but I think, like I said, with the free throws and with the fact that he's going to keep taking close to 20 shots a game or more, like he has been, I feel good about him being able to get over 20 points.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned this offhand in the last player props when we were saying, like, Bam hit in game 2, and like, maybe we should just keep hitting Bam. And then we, for some reason, I went tried to get Q with KCP. But yeah, I mean, his prop has now risen 2 points every game in this finals as the books are realizing, like, this is a different guy. Like, yeah, he's highest usage rate on the team. Unofficial stat that he is the most fiery right now, I think, on the team. He wants this the most. Jimmy continues to deal with some personal stuff and just, he's given him more effort, but he's not he's not as aggressive as Bam by any means,
Yeah,
who's taking this matchup personally, trying to score with the Joker, maybe get him into foul trouble, something. I thought he got the raw whistle too for a while there. Like Joker being the rim protector, it's like, no, he just hit him in the arm. Like, what the hell? So yeah, he'll continue to attack. I like this one. And Jimmy, yeah, if he's not, when he decides he's not going to go all the way to the rim, basically he just drops it off to Bam in this weird like 6 to 8 foot range.
Yeah.
And it's going to be awkward as hell if he doesn't keep shooting it. And that's the way Denver's trying to force them to play offense right now by forcing everything, funneling everything down there. And that's why he's getting a lot of opportunities, and he's going to have to continue to hoist. So,
yeah,
I'll keep targeting it for sure. I am going to go with Jimmy here in the context of fading MPJ head-to-head rebounds bet. And I was surprised to see, holy shit, like Jimmy, he must be like -1.5, -2.5 versus MPJ. No, it's dead even, and it's even odds at DK for him to out-rebound Michael Porter Jr. And so I would put 2 units on this. It's just basically based on the fact that MPJ might get benched again, which you would obviously be sitting pretty. I mean, I know he managed to grab 7 boards before getting benched last time out, but in this entire finals, he has 4 contested defensive rebounds. Like, if the ball falls to him, he'll get it, but he's just not in his headspace in terms of like fighting for everything versus Jimmy, who's ultra competitive, of course. He is averaging 8 rebounds per game since the start of last playoffs in 35 minutes per game, but he's played now 24 minutes per game in the last 2 because Michael Malone has been ultra pissed at him. In his career, he's only played 24 minutes per game against the Heat because Jimmy has gone at him a lot. He has become a better defender, but even in his last 2 regular season against the Heat, 29 minutes per game, averaging 6 boards per game. So Jimmy's coming off a 2-rebound game, which is, subpar, has in some way to do with him guarding Jamal Murray, being away from the basket, but he owned it in the post-game presser that, like, we didn't hustle hard enough. We didn't play with enough of, force and whatever. I expect him to fully come back out and hustle more in the terms of the rebounds and assists, probably score more already. Again, we'll talk about, end of series Jimmy, when their backs against the wall. In the final game of the last 6 series Miami's played, he's averaging 8.3 boards per game. In the penultimate game, 9.5 rebounds per game. And so if you just look at his scoring prop versus MPJ, -120 to score 16 more points than him. I know rebounds bounce kind of more randomly and you can project scoring more, but if it's that big of a gap, according to the books, again, like, you can take the rebounds at no gap and feel pretty confident that we're just talking about minutes here. And, this similar prop just hit, right, with Gabe Vincent having a horrible, horrible offensive game, but he scored 7, MPJ scored 2, and therefore that bet hit because, it's just follow the minutes. He can't really do much damage if he's not out there.
That's what we would hope for with this bet. I think you have to bank on him getting the minutes down as well, because like I don't really fully understand why Jimmy only had 2 boards in this last one, other than maybe just because Bam and Joker were just eating them up, so it didn't really matter. And when the Heat had their cold stretches in this game, that's when Michael Porter Jr. obviously was able to get he had like 4 in the first quarter, essentially 3 in the first quarter, and that's what you worry about the most. He's going to be playing in the first quarter. He's usually in even past the first sort of rotation of subs that come in at about 5 minutes for the Nuggets. Like, Michael Porter Jr. is usually still on the floor at that point. If anything, it's either KCP coming out or even Jamal getting a blow real quick before he comes back on to take on minutes that Joker sits out. But either way, it's the minutes that you're hoping for here more than anything, because 51.5% was the field goal percentage for the Nuggets in this last game. So you still really got to hope that they're continuing to miss some shots, unlike this last game in game 4 here for that bet to hit. So I can understand, feeling as confident, especially when you came in thinking like, oh, Jimmy's got to have, you came in with sort of your own estimation of how many Jimmy would be favored by in this one, and it was well below what you expected. So like that helped your confidence, and I support it big time just to continue to, I support it. I wouldn't say big time, but I support it as far as fading MPJ in this one and expecting Jimmy to come out with some ferocity in a game that is a must win. Let's put it very plainly. Like, they have to win this game. So I'm going to finish things off going back to Caleb Martin, baby. Remember when his prop was at like 16.5 points? It is at 9.5. And he was sick. We said it. You said it. You brought it to my attention, looked into it. You're totally right. He had a non-COVID illness in the first game for sure. And in that second game, looked like he was still coming off of it. In that third game, in game 3 just now, like it still kind of looked like there was times where he was a little bit more hesitant, but there were also, as the game went on, sort of seemed like he started to get into it more. He was looking for his shot. He passed up a couple of potential, passes to other players because he was waiting for himself to get open, essentially. So the 9.5 points, I think, is a good steal. He just got 10. He went 4 for 9 in 31 minutes in this last one. He was the primary defender on Jamal Murray for like 5.5 minutes that he was in there, like at least, for the possession that he was in there, which was definitely more than anyone else when he was on the floor at that point. Kevin Love played 16 minutes. I think you're going to continue to see that if Miami finds himself in a place where, they're down or they need to continue to hit threes to hang with the way that the Nuggets are scoring, or they need to continue to at least have guards that can penetrate and present a bit more of a threat than just a guy who's kind of popping off of screens that he's setting and just rolling out to the 3-point line, not really giving them anything else. Like I love K Love still, honestly, and I think he kind of got gypped out of some minutes that would have helped him get over the 10.5 as he was up to 8 in this one that we needed last game. But I think they're making it clear if Caleb Martin is available for more minutes, that's also going to be a big reason that Kevin Love doesn't get more than 15, at most 20. But also the way that we were saying, Kyle Lowry out of the lineup a bit more. I think Caleb Martin is a guy that also is one of the only ones that gets left open a bit more, right? At this point, like if there's going to be Gabe Vincent on the floor and Max Strus or Duncan Robinson, as well as even if K Love is out there, like Caleb Martin is a guy that doesn't really get guarded as tightly from deep. And if he's going to be attacking the rim like he was a bit more and have the confidence that he showed, then I just believe that he's back a lot more and there's room for progression in this one. And I'm going to consider looking at what 15 plus points is for him at this point, because I think he is capable of being that third or fourth guy for them after him and Gabe Vincent essentially are the ones that I feel are the most consistent in that sense.
Yeah, confidence is key. And not only did he come back from being sick, right? He came home and J. Cole, his buddy, was at the game, who probably had some positive words for him. Apparently, they used to play ball together in North Carolina. He helped the Heat sign him. So we wanted to show out. I think after he hit one of those threes, he was jawing at him in terms of just like bringing back that edge that he seemed to lose after the Boston series. So 10 points, not bad. Yeah, because Kevin Love, like he's just going to be a token starter at this point. The Nuggets know how to identify and get him off the floor. Martin's going to still struggle to guard Aaron Gordon, but he still should mix in on the wing as Miami just tries to patch it together, find enough offense to stick with this Denver team that scores at such a high rate.
Yeah, he was such an important guy coming into this series. If you think he's going to get the minutes, 4.5 rebounds over that for him is plus money, plus 115 as well on DraftKings. I haven't shopped it yet, so make sure you check out if it's even better in other places for him to get 5+ boards. But if we think he's back to 31 to 35 minutes, then I also like that as another rebounder alongside Bam. Really, like we said, playing the 4 kind of, even though maybe you continue to like Aaron Gordon's rebounds as well as a result. But either way, lots of bets in this one. We wanted to make sure we got this video out to you, as that is all the time we have in it for you. Continue to follow along. Check out the best bets we have up as well. And until we see you next for Game 5, happy betting.